Howdy. Wanted to make a quick video on performance driving with a bottle of water. The reason why I'm doing this is because Ridge Chaser had an Instagram post where somebody was driving really erratically with the steering, and I said it's not just about driving with the steering, it's about driving with the chassis. Somebody then commented and said, how do you drive with the chassis? And this could be a genuine question, or this could have been a little bit of a trolling jab. Either way, I'm gonna explain this really quickly because I went into a very long couple of paragraphs into this where I could just visually show this quickly. Here's our decrepit bottle of water. Essentially what you wanna do the whole entire time is keep the water level. You don't want the water to be sloshing around. Let's say this is the front of your car, this is the rear, side to side for turning. You know, if you're driving really aggressively, you're basically be making the water shift all over the place. And that's just not good for weight balance. Getting into dynamics itself, you want to keep this water level. However, no car is the same, right? You have more weight. Let's say this is a front engine car with front wheel drive. Most of the weight's going to be on the front, or maybe even a Mustang where a lot of the weight is on the front. You know, it's 58% of the weight is on the front. Or let's say you have a mid-engine car or a rear engine car where about 53 to 55% of the weight, maybe even more, is on the rear of the car. So this is not a one size fits all, but it is a good comprehension of driving dynamics. When you're accelerating, the weight shifts back. Rear tires get the grip because you're applying load to those rear tires. When you're braking, look what's happening. That weight shifts forward. Your front tires will overload. Turning side to side, that weight is shifting over, back and forth, teeter-tottering. The way you want to look at this is keeping everything nice and fluid, no pun intended. If your steering inputs are erratic like this and super aggressive, then your bottle of water is just going to be sloshing all over the place, and it's just not fluid, it's not fast. What's happening is all that inertia is going all over the place, and weight transfer is going all over the place, and it's basically overloading your tires, overloading your chassis, overloading your suspension. Performance driving is all about keeping smooth. Smooth is fast. Think of Takumi from Initial D. Had that cup of water in his cup holder. Bunta, his father, wanted him to keep that nice and smooth, not slosh around a bunch, because smooth is fast. There are a couple different types of drivers. Some are a little bit more aggressive with steering inputs, and some are a little bit more pinkies out and smooth with their inputs. You can apply your style of driving to however you want to in order to keep the chassis and everything nice and stable. Let's say you're approaching a corner, you are accelerating, then you start braking. People want to jam the brakes really quickly and really sharply at the beginning, and then eventually rotate off. So you're coming in, diving deep into a corner, that weight is shifting. You're loading the front tires with a grip. Depending on your actual car's weight distribution, it depends. Like Porsches will probably be more flat. Somebody with a front engine rear wheel drive car such as the Miata will probably be more like this. In terms of a front wheel drive car, it'll probably be a little bit more intense. When you're braking into the corner, what's happening is you're loading your front tires and the rear's kind of stepping out a little bit, and you start getting into that corner, and then you start trail braking off. As you're doing that though, you want to already be putting your steering inputs in to get into that corner. Weight is shifting, and then off trail brake, and then you're rotating through that corner. As you're coming out of the corner, you're starting to get on the throttle and then get the rears to grip a little bit more. And you want to be unwinding on the steering at this time because look, you don't have a whole lot of weight on the front tires, so they're probably not going to grip up as well. Of course, it all depends on the tires. This is just a simple concept. And then you can start piling on the power into the straightaway. Now, drifting is a different story because it's a little bit more of an aggressive style, actually a lot more aggressive style. They're coming into the corner real hot, barrel onto the brakes, and then you're shifting all that weight, loosening up the rear end, and then you're able to kick it. And then that's when you can do a nice little power on and just kind of keep it balanced and flow almost like a ballerina, getting through that corner nice and sideways. So going back to that video, yes, the person's doing way too much, and at this point in time, you're scrubbing speed. You're transferring inertia all over the place. That's overloading the tires, and it's scrubbing speed. It's making you go slow. The best way to really feel this out is to go karting. Go to your local karting place. Go to K1, go to wherever you can, and get a few laps in the kart. Karts are much quicker inputs. You still have to be smooth, but it is still pretty aggressive. Weight transfer with the gas and the brake itself, and you can kind of feel everything, and it's at milliseconds at a time. If you have karted before, you go from your kart right into driving your car back on the street, and you're like, wow, and you feel everything, and it's so weird, and you feel like you can drive it a lot faster, which is actually the case. That's what's actually happening because you have been attuned for quicker responses. Now car slows it down because there's more weight, more inertia, more weight transfer. And that's pretty much the basics of performance driving. Is you want to keep that water nice and smooth. It's not an X and Y axis. It is going to be all around. You want to keep that nice and smooth and really feel, again, with your ass and your equilibrium. You want to hear the tires communicate to you, obviously. You want to do your steering inputs nice and light. If you need to scrub speed, that's fine too, because sometimes that can benefit you if you're coming too hot into a corner. If you're understeering, obviously what you want to do before you get into that corner is apply more brakes. Try to trail brake a little bit more just to have the rears, again, come up and rotate around to where you can take your set into a corner, point at the apex, and get back on nice and easy off the steering. A book I highly recommend is Ultimate Speed Secrets, or just any of the Speed Secrets books by Ross Bentley. Ross Bentley is a fantastic writer, very easy to digest, a lot of graphs and pictures for those who like that, such as myself. I had to take, 1 to 2 to 3 chapters at a time, digest it. You can go out there, get behind the wheel of your car, and start applying these philosophies right away. Obviously, you want to use your powers for good, not evil. I hate that people tend to gatekeep how to go fast. I love when everyone works together because that makes everyone much better. The competition gets even better and you ultimately become a better driver. So get out there and start feeling your chassis, your Gundam, your mecha as an extension of your body. Use your ass and use your equilibrium and start going fast. As a disclaimer, I am not a pro racer. I am not an amateur racer. I don't get paid to race whatsoever. It's just a hobby. I love cars. My next love is driving. I love driving more than anything. I can find fun in any car I drive. I just love driving. So take this really loose physics with a grain of salt, but hopefully now when you get behind the wheel, you'll understand, okay, cool, gotta keep everything level. Other than that, thanks again for watching. Bye.